Hi, everybody. This is the baseball, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, a great one, the people's champion, your host. Hi, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut 2. Hope you like this video and subscribe along the way. So the New York Yankees, they're awful. They're terrible. This is the first time that they've played this poorly in a long time. It's not since 1995 where there were several games under 500. They're currently 4 games under 500, 60 and 64. They're in dead last in the American League East. I'm going to talk about them in this video. But we have the New York Yankees, who a whole generation and a half have never seen a terrible, and the Hut means a terrible, losing Yankee team. The last time the Yankees had a losing record was in 1992, the first year of Buck Showalter. The last time the New York Yankees finished in last was in 1991. So this is a long time coming. The chickens have finally come home to roost. They've finally come home to roost. And they've not played well. They're in a tough division. The Red Sox have played well. The Red Sox are the 4th place team. They're trying to win their wild card. But the Yankees have been just pathetic. And they've been pathetic since last June. They're like 10, 15 games under 500 since the middle of June. Last year, from April to the middle of June, people were talking about them winning 120 games. Now, they finished with 99 games. They won 99 games last year. But they didn't finish off, with a lot of energy, and they sort of brought that energy into this season. Now, they had a major injury to their captain, Horseface, to Aaron Judge. And he has been out for another, 60 games? Now, I would mention about Aaron Judge, the dirty little secret of his career. He hit 63 home runs last year, which is an American League record. But 3 of the 7 years that he's played in the majors, he's played close to a full season. 4 out of the 7 full years, he has not. So he banked in a big season, and this is a guy that is always hurt. He's 31 years old. He's had a career where he's had major injuries. Now, this toe that he injured is probably the most mysterious toe injury in the history of the New York Yankees, and the history of baseball, for that matter, if you want to be honest. And then he had a bit of an oblique. Think about who hurts their toe running into the bullpen fence at Dodger Stadium. That's a regular occurrence, running into the... it's such a weird injury. And then they said, well, if he got surgery, he'd be out for the rest of the season. What a weird injury. Now, he's had weird injuries before. He's like the Yankees version of Giancarlo Stanton. Oh, wait a minute. Giancarlo Stanton. He's on the Yankees. Yes, his 202 batting average, and he's 33 years old, going on 53. The way he's played, on the way he's moving in the field, he looks like he's way past his prime. And that is a contract that, in a lot of ways, has debilitated the Yankees to do any kind of improvements on the edges. The one thing about this Yankee team is they have zero balance in the lineup. All Yankee teams, all great Yankee teams, and even I know this as a Met fan, have very strong left-handed hitting because you want to take advantage of that short porch in right field, which goes back to the days of Babe Ruth and goes to Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris, Yogi Berra, Reggie Jackson, Chris Chambliss, Tino Martinez, Hideki Matsui. I can go on and on. Who is the big left-handed hitter on this Yankees team? 33-year-old Anthony Rizzo, another guy that looks like he's past his prime, which the Yankees re-signed last offseason. Now, he had an injury. I guess he got concussed during the season, and the Yankees did not properly diagnose it, and he's been playing with this injury the whole season. And it wasn't until a few weeks ago that he came out and said, look, I can't sleep at night. I'm having all kinds of problems, and they found out that he had a concussion. Now, we don't get too crazy about, medical staffs, but this is the kind of bad luck that teams that are bad have. Bad teams have these kind of injuries, have these kind of problems, along with lack of production, along with rookies not performing. Let's talk about Anthony Volpe, who came in with such big fanfare between the media pumping him up and the Yankees saying that he was the next Derek Jeter incarnate, comparing him to doing this and that, and he's none of those things. He can't get on base. He's got an on-base percentage under 30%, it's 300. He strikes out a ton. His defense, which is supposed to be this, unbelievable shortstop, they're talking about moving them to second base, and that Oswaldo Peraza is a better shortstop. Now, they did make a couple of call-ups. I guess they called up Pierre and Oswaldo Perez. But those guys, again, if they were so good, why weren't they here all along? Why wasn't Peraza here this whole time? I don't know. And as far as I know, he didn't perform well when he was here. So this is the kind of quandary, if you're a Yankee fan, you got to deal with. And I would mention this. I mentioned this a couple of times. The Yankees have not produced any kind of young pitching, impact pitching, since Andy Pettitte. A guy that is an anchor in your rotation, and you don't have to worry about him. They've not produced anybody. Luis Severino, Domingo Germán, Domingo Germán, hands sticky, you got to cut the drinks, that's Domingo Germán. Getting all nasty with the people, with the guys in the clubhouse, Domingo Germán, remember him? You do the perfect game nobody's ever going to remember. That is the best that they've been able to provide. The big pitchers that the Yankees have been bringing in have been CC Sabathia, Jared Cole, and these guys were guys that they signed as free agents. Now, Sabathia, they were able to win a World Series, and I also would mention that the Yankees from 2009 to 2023 now have not been to the World Series, which is the longest drought in terms of decade to decade in the history of the Yankees. Every decade since the 1920s, the New York Yankees have been to the World Series, except for 2010 and 2020. They're getting awfully close to that long drought from 1981 to 1996. And we're now going to be on year 14 of that drought. That's a long time. Especially when Yankee fans, talk about the grandeur of Yankee Stadium and the grandeur of being a Yankee. So that's been a long time coming. Their bullpen, they throw hard. Excuse me. Yankee bullpen throws very hard, but when they don't have it, it gets hit very hard. There's no Jeff Nelson's in that bullpen. There's no Ramiro Mendoza's in that bullpen. There's certainly not Mariano Rivera in that bullpen. But then again, there's very few pitchers like him. There's not even a David Robinson, for God's sake, in that bullpen. So the Yankees are on up Schitt's Creek, as they say, in a boat without a paddle. And it doesn't seem like they have much direction, to be honest with you. The owner is devoid, he's living in some kind of alternate reality. He doesn't want to believe that this Yankee team is bad. He wants to believe that they're good. They don't want to spend the money that they used to spend. They're not willing to eat the contracts. I know that a lot of the media that are fans of the Yankees want to do what the Mets did. What Steve Cohen did. And that was eat the contracts of Justin Verlander and eat the contract of Max Scherzer. The only difference with those two guys, those guys are Hall of Fame pitchers, and they did not sign long-term deals. And they had another year on each of their deals with the Mets. And the Mets just ate the contract for this year and most of the money for next year. Giancarlo Stanton, for instance, has a big contract for more years, and who's going to want him? Now this Yankee team, is old. DJ LeMahieu, two-time batting title champion, is old. He's shot. Josh Donaldson, hopefully he gets out of that nursing home that he's in. He's shot. He has to go. I mean, they should just release him. I don't know why they didn't release him already. DFA him, release him. It doesn't matter. Just get him out of here. That's what Yankee fans want. Now, Yahoo loves this stuff. I love to see Yankees fall flat on their face. Waiting a long time for this. Now, I would mention about the Yankee farm system. It is considered rather high. But the one thing I've learned about the Yankee farm system is they've not really produced a lot of talent over the last few years. Like I said, mostly from the pitching, nothing from the pitching side. I mean, we've seen some guys come along, Robbie Cano, but we know what happened, how that ended. Aaron Judge, can't stay healthy. Gary Sanchez, you know, can't hits for homers, doesn't do much other than that, can't catch. And there's been sort of, I guess, this sort of controversy within the Yankee organization that a former minor leaguer was complaining about how they're doing weird things in the minors. They're teaching players about analytics more than about the fundamentals of the game, and that they're bringing. They seem like they don't really know what the hell they're doing. That seems to be the overall sense from people that follow the Yankees on a regular basis. That are fans. I'm not even a fan. I'm not even a fan of the Yankees, and I'm telling and from what I've been reading and hearing, that the Yankees have zero direction. I mean, you go into this team. You reach the point of the trade deadline. Your team has needs. Your team needs offense. Your team needs a left-handed hitter in the middle of the lineup, and you don't make a deal. You want to hold on to these prospects, and all you do is bring in these middle relievers that they brought in. Pathetic. It's pathetic. Now, I would say that the one move they could have made a few years ago was sign Corey Seager. He was the perfect guy for the Yankees. If there was ever a guy that was perfect for the Yankees, left-handed, can deal with the big stage, a money player, that guy is a great big game player. And he would have done great in Yankee Stadium. He's been healthy with the Rangers the last 2 years. He would have been great here with the Yankees, but the Yankees didn't even bother signing him. Instead, they want to give Anthony Volpe a chance. I mean, ridiculous. Hal Steinbrenner doesn't know what he's doing. Now, I would mention this. Last year, I was talking about it on my channels, that the Yankees should think about selling. And there were rumors percolating during the summer that they were going to sell the team to Apple. They should think about that, because it doesn't seem like the Steinbrenner family has George's drive to win. George did everything to win a game, win anything. Win a free agency signing, do anything to be great. Hal Steinbrenner doesn't have that urge to be great. And that's the problem with Hal versus George. George may have gotten some things wrong, but George got an awful lot right. He won 6 World Series as owner. This owner has not won. They've not been into the World Series since he's been owner. And that should tell you something about the drive of him, that he's sort of like the opposite of his father. He probably didn't like how George was basically, just firing this guy, hiring Billy Martin, firing this guy, hiring Billy Martin. He'd probably grown up, he's probably like, my father's crazy. I'm not going to be like this when I take over. Well, we got that right. He's too measured. Sometimes you got to be a little woo-woo to run these teams, because if you don't, these front offices are going to run over you. And that's what I would say happened here in Queens with Steve Cohen. Steve realized, I have to take control of the situation and not let this go further than this season. And he did that. He got rid of all these older players and brought a lot of talent into the farm system. We'll see if they pan out. They probably won't, most of them. But he changed course direction. And you want an owner that is able to do that. And it doesn't seem like Hal has the ability to do that. I'm glad he's not my owner. I didn't realize that the Hal Steinbrenner turned into Fred Wilpon all of a sudden, and Jeff Wilpon. I noticed that with the sons of these owners, they tend to be less aggressive, and they tend to make more mistakes than the fathers do. George made a lot of mistakes, but it was always with the intent of winning and being great. Hal's is the opposite. Now, this is just my take on it. This is a Mets fan's take that's been here in New York for all these years, following the Mets and watching the Yankees. The Yankees are going to be in trouble for a while, So, but you let me know what you think about that. Any comments about the Yankees, you put it there, and subscribe to the Baseball Hut too. We have a lot of fun here. We're going to talk a lot about the Yankees. I know people have been responding to these videos, and I'll talk about the Yankees. I have no problem with that. I'll run them into the ground like nobody. And no, it means nobody will run them into the ground like I will. No Yankee fan will. No Met fan will. Well, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the Baseball Hut too, and I'll see you later.